my friend, it's Pat Sloan here. We are on Scrappiness is Happiness. It is Polka Dot Day. What a good day, right? Polka Dot Day. We have another organization segment. This is could be a hard one or not, but at least it might be eye-opening and a giveaway. So first, let's do the Scrappiness is Happiness. So that is a sew-along I'm doing with the Fat Quarter Shop, and it's from Lori Holt's book. And so up on the wall is where we're at so far. I am loving this one, just loving it. So we're doing a star block today. Let's go the other side. Let's take a look at the block. It has flying geese, which is the shortcut part of the name of the block. So these flying geese units, let me just show you down here. So the star points, here we go. The star points are all flying geese units. And that is where Lori Holt, the author, used the word shortcut to do a technique that gets you these done in a different way. And so let me just show you my fabrics. I decided to go with, let me keep it over here so you can kind of see the picture there. I decided to go with the blue that I'm using as the background for behind the flying geese unit at the star points, and then that corner. So just sort of that outer rim. Then I am going to make the star points out of this one. So I went hunting around for something new to add, and this is actually one of Bev's fabrics as well. The main fabric line I'm using is Beverly's McCulloch's Flamingo Toes, my friend. This is another piece of her fabric from a different line. So this will be the star points. Then I thought in the middle, I want to have that pinwheel in the middle out of yellow. Then I need to put it against something different because I don't want to use this same blue in here. The coloration of this shows that, but I didn't want that. So I think I'm going to use these dots with the yellow pinwheel. And then the sort of four corners here will also be the yellow. Now there is a border on here, and that's where I was sort of struggling a bit. I have this one. I also pulled like some of the turquoises. I could use a lighter turquoise, that's more like this light. But I think what I'm going to do is this one. I'm getting low. I want to use all of this up in this quilt. This is all I have of this piece. That's it. So I think by the time I'm done, this will be used up. This is going to put this border on here. Then the corners I will do with the mushroom. Wouldn't that be cute? The mushroom corners. So I'm repeating this in the corners. I'm repeating the yellow also at the inner quarters of the star itself. And so I won't be using those turquoise. So this is how I came up with what I wanted to use for this guy. So I think that's really cute. It's going to look good in the whole scheme of things. You notice there's no sort of white in this one. A lot of the blocks have some white, but I think it's great every so often to have one of them without. So you'll see I have a mix of that. And I'll put this up on the wall and sort of use the other camera and show you. And this is how it ended up. I love it. I love it. It'd be interesting to do a whole quilt like this. It is not a quick block. It has quite a few steps, but there's very little waste. There's just a few cutoffs otherwise, and they're tiny, so I don't keep them, but you could sew them up as to little tiny half square triangles. Now this block goes somewhere up in this region. So just for ease, I'm going to stick it here so that I don't have to go reaching up there so that you can see them all together. Well, actually, I should put it over this way because what I want to do next here is, like I mentioned, let me get the other camera and just look straight on at the whole thing. So for this piece of fabric, I want to be sure that I am spreading it out around the quilt. I have it in the block we just did. I have it in this block. I have it down somewhere else. A little bit in this block here. Oh, and I have it in that block. So when I'm doing the rest of my blocks now, I will want to maybe have something down in this area, something over in this area, and I could actually have something up there if it stretches. I have this is folded in half. So it's not a lot, but it's enough. I think I can get a little bit all the way around because these blocks have a lot of pieces of fabric in them. So for Polka Dot Day, polka dots. If you have a quilt with polka dots, share your quilt today at our community page, Quilt Along with Pat Sloan. I'm going to show you one that's on the cover of my triangle book because it has polka dots used I think, efficiently through it, or effectively. So they're sprinkled all through. It doesn't really matter. This is actually the top, but it doesn't really matter. There it is. And then the back has this fabulous fabric I got quite a few years ago with a strip to separate it. But I loved sprinkling the polka dots in here. And this is just a super way to do it. This is an hourglass repeated. That's all that it is. And it is an effective quilt. That could be like a block a day one. A big hourglass, yeah, because they're easy to do. So show your quilts. Also want to give a shout out today to my mom. It is her birthday. Mwah. Happy birthday, Mom. I actually talked to her over the weekend because she has things to do today. So it was easier to coordinate with her over the weekend. She lives in Montana. That's where Mom is. Okay, what else do I have? Let me just do a quick mail call. This is from Barbara in Montana. See, Montana? This is so funny, right? There's the Gummy Bears, my fave. And then this is from Sherry in Illinois. Beautiful butterfly card, and the notes you send are so wonderful. And Sherry also found this fabric that she had to have and then sent me a piece of it. It is cartwheels. Santa's doing cartwheels. They are so good. They're definitely going to go in something someday. Oh my goodness, so good. Today, the January Sew Sampler box, I'm not opening it, but you can buy them without being a subscriber. They cost a little bit more, but if you wanted to see what one was like and give it a try, you can go ahead and get it. They may be doing this, they have done it in the past, like they may have had extras, people didn't cancel it or whatever, and they sold them afterwards, but they may be doing a few extra now in the future that you can get without a subscription. So if you've been wanting to try it and didn't want to subscribe, it's still worth it. You get the coupon and everything else. So I wanted you to be sure that you got that. All right, let's go. Okay, no, wait, before we go, let me do the giveaway. The Virginia Quilt Museum fundraising quilt along. We're doing the Harrisonburg quilt. This is it in my fabric and a couple others. Let me scroll it through here. Well, today starts for the week. It is open for entries. There are 5 stops on this giveaway tour, and that means 5 kits will be given away for my version of the Harrisonburg with my sleepover fabric. Benertex and Aurifil are our sponsors for this giveaway, and the fabric is, and we'll have a box of either my thread kit or Wendy's thread kit in the giveaway prize. And so what you'll do is you'll go to my website today, and then you'll go visit Wendy, and you'll visit the museum, and you'll visit Benertex, and you'll visit Aurifil. So you've got 5 places to go. If you're outside the U.S., the Aurifil one is doing a outside the U.S. giveaway of just the thread kits. So that is what the outside the USA has. So they are doing actually 2 giveaways, one for US, one for outside the US, over at the Aurifil website. Okay, so that is where you're going to go today and get in on the giveaway. So let's now do the organization stuff. We'll go over on the other side of the table and we'll wrap up over there. So let's talk kits. So what is a kit? A kit would be maybe something you buy. It's the pattern, the fabric, may have some other things with it, all came together, you purchased it. And they generally have a picture of it made up in those fabrics. Okay, so that's the kit that you purchase. You might also put your own kit together where you've found a pattern and you've found fabric and you've put it together in a bag of some sort to do someday, but you've not started it. So for me, kits are things that are not started. Once I start them, they're a UFO if I'm not working on them, or they're a work in progress. You might hear WIP, W-I-P from some people. That's a work in progress. So we're talking just things we haven't started yet. A lot of mine are collections of things I've put together. And so I thought I would get some of them out to show you. And then today your organization is to, if you're going to take on this one, get your kits and look at them. Do you still love them all? Are there some that maybe you don't love as much? But first, let's just look at mine, and then we'll talk about decision making on them. Okay, so I have things that are like, this isn't really a kit. This is just a pattern, and I did happen to have some unicorn poop thread. See, oh, aren't they gorgeous? Oh my God, they're so pretty. So I have that, but this is not, there's no fabric, and so I consider this more pattern. So I should put this with my patterns to do someday, you know, when I'm 150, because I'm going to need to be that old in order to do them all. So I'm going to set that over to the side. The other things are like, this is a kit, and it is came from the Fat Quarter Shop Sew Sampler, so it was a one of, you know, a pattern unique to that. And I have the jelly roll. It would make the smaller one, and I put it together. I got the backing, I mean a background, got the background. So this would be a kit that I put together. I didn't pull out, I only have a couple of kits that I purchased, which actually, okay, true confessions, today, this morning, I ordered myself a kit. I have not ordered a kit in a long, long time. And my friend Lori Simpson of Minnick & Simpson, I was got one of the ones that has applique, because I haven't done applique in a while, and I love her style, so I'll show you when it comes. There were only 2 kits left. Of course, the pattern is there, but I thought, I'm just getting the kit. And I got 2 other patterns too, which had applique. Okay. So this is another one, which was from the Sew Sampler boxes. So again, it's one that's exclusive to that. And so that's kind of like, I had to get the parts. Here's one I put together myself, because I have 2 charm packs and the border fabrics and stuff. And look at that fabric. So this is to do an Oh My Stars, or I'm not sure why, I also have a jelly roll of the same fabric. So I could have a choice. I could do my stitched Social Sharks. I remember I did one pillow, and then Lylene sent me her plaids to add to my plaids so that I could do a full quilt someday. This is a free pattern from Art Gallery, and called Wilderness. It's the mountains, and I collected up I had like a bundle, and then I collected up some other fabrics to do this project, because I think it's so cute. Somebody in our community just shared that they were working on that one. Look at the owls, look at the owls. So I'm going to be a big piece of this fabric. And then another one that I put together, I've got in this container, and I have a few of them in the container, like Norm, the gnome, the whole quilt, or something, the Norm and Nanette. I have 2 containers with all of that fabric from that kit. So this is a pattern that's been out a long time, and I've always loved it, and my friend Cindy had made it, and I always coveted having hers because she finished it with pretty much the fabrics used. And so I collected up those fabrics, and then she sent me the stencil. Cindy sent me the stencil that she had bought. So basically tracing the applique through the stencil is a little bit faster than on tracing the pattern paper. At least it's a tad more accurate than your hand. So I thought, well, she was done, she made her quilt, so she sent me her stencil. So I have all of this in here for that, and maybe the fall. I've really wanted to do that one, so it might be for the fall, who knows. We'll see, we'll see. Now I went around and I did a rough count, because I'm not going to pull them all out. That's not, for me, I'm not worried about these at the moment, because I did kind of look through them. But anyways, we're going to talk about that in a sec. So I do have probably between 10 and 15 other kits. Now today, if you are on like kit mode, you're like, okay, this fabric thing, this is my goal for today or for the next few days, is to evaluate my kits. Then pull them all out. Decide which ones you want to keep, which ones you're thinking on, and which ones you definitely are like, yeah, these needs to move to a new home of some sort. So you know, if you decide, like, there's an option. You don't actually have to move it off to a new home. You could actually deconstruct your kit. So what you could do is you could take something like, let's say this one. I'm not doing it to this one, but I'm going to show it to you. Let's say for this pumpkin one, if I wanted to deconstruct this, then what I would do would be to put this with my patterns, probably together. You know, I put this together, probably get another bigger bag, put this with my patterns, and then I would take all these fabrics, put these with the yellow, these with the brown, this with the burgundy. And I would just take the kit apart and use, and the fabric would go back into my collection to use. And this would go for a someday if I decided, or maybe I would just say, hey, I'm just never going to make this, so I'm going to give the pattern to somebody else who would enjoy it, but I want to keep the fabric. And so you're basically deconstructing the whole kit, and it's no longer together. And that is a great option if you have a kit. One of the people in our community even mentioned this the other day. They had one that they were just like, you know, I'm ready to not, I'm never going to do that, but the fabric's beautiful, so I'm just going to put it back into my collection. Now, I thought I would give you a list, and I'll have this on my website today too, written out, so you can go over there, of where you can sell what your kits that you don't want. So let's say you had this one and you're like, okay, I'm not going to do this, but I don't want to give it away to somebody. I'd like to, you know, I'd like to go ahead and sell it. So here is a list of places that you can do that. You can do that on Facebook Marketplace. Lots of people have had huge success. It is free to write on there, so you're not, you know, being charged anything. You can go on eBay and you can list it. Of course, you have fees associated with eBay. Same with Etsy. If you are an Etsy seller of some products, lots of people resell onto Etsy. You can put it on your personal Facebook page or your personal Instagram and just say, hey, I have some items that I no longer want, they're for sale. And your friend list is pretty much, or they may share it to a friend, and then you could sell it that way. If you have belonged to a guild, often guilds will be doing some sort of like yard sale. Think of it like that way. The guild might host a yard sale where everybody comes in. Maybe you pay, you know, 15 bucks for a table spot to the guild as a fundraiser, and then you sell your items to the guild members. You might also look at an Instagram de-stash, and I'll put that word up here. On Instagram, people will create a brand new account and they'll call it a de-stash and put the hashtag, and then people who can search the hashtag. So you'd need to read a little bit up on that and exactly how that works, but that is a great way to do things. And then there are reseller stores, and that is like consignment stores where you take this in and they will take a percentage of the sale, but they will handle everything, and so you just take it in, or they may just outright purchase it from you, and then that's it. They buy it for 20 bucks or something, and then they put it in their reseller store for 45 bucks, something like that. So there's variations, and there are a lot of new reseller stores that are geared towards crafts, and some actually geared mostly towards fiber. And so look around in your community. You might have one of those type of places. Today's assignment and a little bonus talk about reselling, and that could be your kits, your fabric, your notions, your sewing machines, your furniture. If you decide that, hey, this is a crappy piece of furniture for the purpose I'm using it for, it's just sort of held together with rubber bands and duct tape, and I just really need something proper, sell what you have. Our ambassador Barbara bought a beautiful table through, I believe it was Facebook Marketplace, she said, to go into her space because somebody didn't need it anymore. It didn't work in their environment. So those are all ways to either get or sell your things. Okay. So I think that'll be sort of like the wrap up of today, because kits are important to us as quilt makers. We get very inspired, and it is very exciting to just go and get the whole bundle together and know that if one day this is the perfect thing for somebody, or it's a perfect thing for your space, or it's a perfect thing for your mental well-being, to make something that this is what you feel like making, and it's all together. You're all ready to go. You got your pattern, you got your fabric, and you don't have to go shopping. You shop your own kits. Now you do need to store these. That's the other thing I didn't mention yet, is figure out how you want to store stuff like this. I have them in a few places which I don't like. I would prefer them all to be sort of more in one place. Like I have some in the blue bins, maybe about 5. And then I have ones in a drawer, and then I have ones in baskets in the other room. And so I would prefer to just have some in the blue and then some in maybe baskets in the other room, and just get it down to 2 places. And really what I would like to have in here are the high priority ones, the ones I really want to do next. So there would be like things in progress in these, and then what I have left would be ones that I want to do next. So I do have to work through those a bit. They're not at that spot right now where that organized that well. Okay, so that is sort of my journey with all of this. And so I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.